Hey, what's up everybody? Goats here, trying to work on this supercharger today. I need to get it removed from this green 4Runner right here behind me. I got the engine bay all cleaned up, it's dry now. So I'm gonna start removing everything to get the supercharger off. I've never done this before, at least with a supercharger. I have taken off my intake on my Tacoma that I used to have to replace the valve cover gaskets. I'm hoping that this is very, very similar. Looks like it is. I don't really remember what it was like taking that off. That's been many, many years ago. But we're going to attempt to take this supercharger off so I can put it on this 4Runner over here. That's my daily driver. So I want to beef up the power on that. I did watch the Timmy the Toolman video on the supercharger install. I'll link that video below. Those guys have a great installation video, very, very detailed. I'm hoping that helps me. I'm trying to retain as much knowledge from that video as I can in this process. So I'll be filming along the way, trying to point out anything that I see that is difficult. But I think the main thing is just going to be take pictures, take it slow, keep everything together so I know which bolts go where. I'm going to mark stuff like the direction of my belt, all that type of stuff, and get this supercharger removed. So let's get into it. This air raid intake is going to have to come off, and I'm going to be removing the entire assembly because I'll be putting it on my 4Runner. So looks like I got a bolt here. There's another bolt down in here. I don't know if you can see that. One back here. I'm gonna need a flathead screwdriver to get these clamps off, remove these hose, and that should get me started. I got some electrical that'll have to be unplugged. The black one here, looks like that's got to come off. I don't think that has to be unplugged. These cables will definitely have to be loosened, pulled off. So we're gonna start with the intake and go from there. The air intake is removed. Pretty simple process. I didn't even worry about the couplings in the middle. There was some clamps in the middle. Since I'm removing the whole assembly, I just had to remove it from the throttle body and undo all the electrical connections. I've already undone these two electrical here, and I need to get these cables off. This hose, I believe, is going to have to come off because that's attached to the supercharger, because I'll be swapping out, I'll be leaving this throttle body on and then using the throttle body from my 4Runner. So I am going to remove that. I think I'll tackle that next. Remove these cables, remove that hose. Looks like there's one more hose on the lower side. I might just be able to move it out of the way. I'm going to unbolt it and see what I can get away with. Throttle body is removed. It's just two bolts up top and two nuts on the lower on these studs, 12 millimeter. I'm leaving this hose attached. I'm just gonna see if I can set the throttle body aside right now and just give me enough clearance to work. I may have to remove it anyways because I plan on doing the valve cover gaskets on this 4Runner as well. And that's probably gonna be in the way. Yeah, let's see here. Remove this hose on the back side. This little small nipple here. And I'm gonna work my way over to the right side here and see what needs to be taken off. Whoop, tripping over that air intake. Gotta undo this negative cable here, undo this bracket. Let's see, this can probably stay on. I'll just attach this hose underneath here, right here where my index finger is. These hoses will have to be removed. Okay, let's do it. I think that's it for this side. Got the diagnostics plug. You push the clip down like that with your index finger and it'll slide off. So I could, actually I didn't have to remove that, but it still had to come off because it was attached to the supercharger. Then I had this is a 10 millimeter here, 10 millimeter right here. Those had to come off because they're attached to hoses and need to free the supercharger up. Looks like that's it on this side. There might be a hose on the back down in there. I don't know if you can see. I can't really even see in there, but I felt a hose and I can't tell if it goes into the supercharger or where it's going. So I'm gonna look back there, see if I can figure that out, and then work on the belt. The belt's gotta come off and hopefully start unbolting this supercharger. So there was one more hose. This T, well, just pulled that off. Well, this T fitting right here that my hand is on, the upper line goes right here on this nipple, and the lower line, there's a lower nipple back behind here that you can't really see, but you can't really mess it up. So I got both of those hoses undone. Looks like I've got a bolt here, there's a nut there, there's one on the back in here, and I think this top one's got to come out, and there's going to be some on the other side. Well, is it just right there? Might be just all on that side. I got to get the belt loose first. Let's do that. I'm going to start with the dynamic tensioner down here. This is a 17 millimeter bolt. Break that loose and see how it responds. Hopefully that'll relieve the tension on the belt, that I can get the belt off. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, that did not work. That 17 millimeter bolt does not want to move. So maybe there's something about the dynamic tensioner that I don't know about. But I cranked on it pretty hard and it does not want to turn. So I'm gonna leave it for now. I don't want to mess anything up. I think what I'll try and do is move the alternator a little bit in to free up some tension on the belt. Okay, I had to do a little bit of research. I got the belt off. So if you put a 3/8 ratchet in there, the dynamic tensioner is spring loaded and it will move. So I just pulled it over to the left to get it loose so I could remove the belt from the pulley up here. So I'm just going to leave this as is for right now. My main goal is just to get the supercharger off. I'm going to investigate how to get the dynamic tensioner off later, figure that out. Right now, let's start unbolting. Supercharger is removed. I did drop a nut on the back side. I should have used a magnet to grab it. Thought I could finesse it out, but it dropped. It's sitting somewhere in there. I should be able to get it with a magnet. I'm gonna have to tool around with a flashlight, but otherwise, this thing's off. Okay, this is a good start. So with the supercharger off, you can see the fuel rail, and these injectors are 310 cc, so they're upgraded injectors to accommodate the supercharger. You can get this kit from Underdog Racing, so I'm going to be swapping this as well so I can get more fuel delivery. And I'm going to be removing this. So this looks like there's 4 bolts, and I believe there's a bolt right here that I've got to take off, and then I've got to undo the fuel line right here on the back side of the rail. I think that's it. Fuel rails out. These look pretty good. I'll probably clean them up before putting them in the other 4Runner. This hose is a little tricky to get off because there's the wiring harness and some other hoses right near it, so it's hard to release the clamp. So that took me a minute, struggled with that a little bit. The 4 bolts, 12mm, those came out really easy. And then there's a bolt, a 17mm bolt with a washer on this back side that has to go in. Yeah, not too bad. That's as far as I'm gonna go today on the supercharger and the fuel injectors. I'll continue this project a little bit later on. Right now I'm gonna tackle these valve cover gaskets and get that taken care of since I have the intake off. But just a quick recap of what we did today. We removed the air intake, we removed the throttle body, we removed the supercharger, and then we removed the fuel rail. So I hope this helps you guys. Hope you learned something. Hope everybody's doing well out there. I really appreciate y'all watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. See ya.